Every first-time founder starts with hope, but small, early decisions quietly shape everything that follows. Most mistakes don't look dramatic. They blend into normal days, unnoticed, until momentum is gone.
In the beginning, uncertainty feels harmless, even exciting, but it often hides deeper problems.
First-time founders often mistake activity for progress, believing motion alone means growth.
Ideas change quickly when there's no clear direction guiding daily decisions.
Early neglect of fundamentals usually feels manageable, until it compounds quietly.
Stress builds when expectations don't match reality, especially for new founders.
Many founders react instead of plan, letting urgency dictate their priorities.
Pausing to think feels unproductive, so it's often skipped when it's needed most.
Early rejection isn't failure, but misreading it often leads to the wrong adjustments.
Long hours can hide inefficient choices that drain energy without moving the business forward.
Constant tweaking can become avoidance, replacing decisive action with endless adjustment. New founders often move alone, unsure when to ask for help. Money issues rarely arrive suddenly. They grow from small, ignored signals. Working late feels committed, but it can hide a lack of clear priorities.
Comparison starts quietly, making others' paths seem clearer than your own.
Distraction slowly replaces focus when boundaries aren't set early.
Unclear vision makes every next step feel heavier than it should.
These moments feel ordinary, but they're where most first-time founder mistakes begin.
The first big mistake is building without deeply understanding who actually needs the product.
Many founders fall in love with ideas, instead of the problems they're meant to solve.
Ignoring early feedback feels easier than admitting the direction might be wrong.
Another common mistake is trying to do everything at once, without clear priorities.
Busyness creates comfort, even when real progress is missing. Overplanning can delay action, especially when certainty is impossible anyway. First-time founders often seek validation before trusting their own judgment. Waiting for permission slows momentum more than most realize. Advice is helpful, but too much of it can blur decision-making. Changing direction too often prevents anything meaningful from compounding. Many founders underestimate how quickly poor financial habits create pressure. Revenue is delayed, but expenses arrive on time, every single month. Optimism replaces planning when numbers are avoided instead of faced.
Poor communication creates confusion long before it turns into conflict.
Avoiding hard conversations delays alignment and multiplies future problems.
Building in isolation feels faster, but it often leads to blind spots.
Fear of being wrong keeps many founders from asking simple questions.
Skipping reflection makes mistakes repeat themselves quietly.
Doubt grows when effort isn't matched with clear learning.
By now, the pattern is clear, but the turning point hasn't arrived yet.
Clarity usually begins when founders stop reacting and start observing their own patterns.
Distance from the noise makes problems look simpler and more solvable.
The shift starts by defining one real problem worth solving right now.
Focus replaces overwhelm when priorities are intentionally reduced.
Progress accelerates when distractions are no longer driving decisions.
Cutting unnecessary work often creates more momentum than adding new plans.
Clear direction doesn't remove risk, but it makes trade-offs visible.
Looking back, honestly, reveals which efforts actually mattered.
Completion builds confidence faster than endless preparation ever will.
And calm thinking becomes a competitive advantage most founders overlook.
Listening carefully to users replaces guessing with grounded decisions.
Fewer metrics create clearer signals about what's actually working.
Confidence grows when actions align with intentional choices.
Facing finances early removes fear and restores control.
Asking better questions invites insight instead of confusion.
Deadlines create movement when perfection is no longer the goal.
Small, consistent steps replace dramatic but unsustainable pushes.
Protecting focus becomes easier once its value is understood.
Simplicity sharpens execution more than complex strategies ever could.
This mindset shift marks the real beginning of effective execution.
Execution begins quietly, through routines repeated long before results are visible.
Each day works better when one meaningful task leads everything else.
Consistency outperforms intensity when progress depends on endurance.
And richer. Moving at your own pace keeps direction intact amid outside pressure. And
early execution favors learning quickly over building something flawless.
Clear next steps remove friction that once felt like motivation problems.
Feedback becomes useful when it's applied immediately, not archived.
Knowing when to stop preserves energy for tomorrow's priorities.
Space between work sessions often produces the clearest insights. Daily reflection turns effort into cumulative understanding.
Adjustments work best when they're small and grounded in evidence.
Momentum grows when decisions are made without reopening old debates.
Fewer tools reduce friction and sharpen attention.
Execution improves when listening replaces defending past choices.
Patterns emerge when enough small actions stack together.
Consistency becomes visible before success ever does. Sustainable pace protects clarity better than urgency-driven sprints.
Rest is no longer avoidance. It's part of the system.
Each reset reinforces what truly matters now.
Execution feels quieter, but the results are finally compounding.
Looking back reveals how many early mistakes came from rushing understanding.
Experience reframes failure as data, not a verdict.
Over time, discernment matters more than collecting endless opinions.
Principles replace guesswork when decisions repeat themselves.
Confidence now comes from process, not unpredictable outcomes.
Numbers stop feeling threatening once they're faced regularly.
Patience grows when progress is measured in months, not days.
Teaching others often clarifies lessons first learned the hard way.
Balanced feedback keeps confidence grounded in reality.
Momentum now feels intentional, built from repeated clear choices. Long-term thinking reduces the pressure on short-term results.
Saying no becomes easier after learning its cost.
Space allows perspective that constant effort once crowded out.
Most early mistakes were predictable, just not obvious at the time.
Systems now replace improvisation where chaos once lived.
Progress is quieter than imagined, but far more durable.
The work no longer consumes everything, and that's a strength. The biggest lesson is simple. Mistakes teach faster than success ever could. With experience, the journey feels longer, but the direction finally feels certain.
Long-term vision replaces the urgency that once dominated every decision.
Vision works best when it's visible during ordinary workdays.
Time creates distance, making early struggles feel smaller and more instructive.
Planning now stretches years ahead, without needing every detail today.
Perspective grows when survival is no longer the only goal.
What once felt costly now reads like tuition for experience.
Path forward no longer depends on constant validation.
Reflection becomes routine, not a reaction to crisis.
Lessons now guide decisions before mistakes can repeat.
The future feels manageable when broken into meaningful chapters.
Success is less about arrival and more about sustained direction.
Letting go of outdated goals creates room for better ones. Not every opportunity needs to be pursued to feel successful.
Confidence now comes from knowing how to recover, not avoid mistakes.
Progress is steady, imperfect, and finally sustainable.
For first-time founders, mistakes aren't the end. They're the foundation.